Eamon Khan here for Seconds Out. I was going to say the man in black, but it's the man in blue, Chris Billam-Smith, also holding the world title, Chris Billam-Smith. Return of the king, Chris Billam-Smith. How are you doing ahead of your date with Matuesz Masternak?
Yeah, all good, all good. I didn't name the show, by the way. A few people in the gym are saying, you've named the show yourself. And it's, I'm not complaining. It's a nice one. And the crowd, the atmosphere they produce makes me feel like a king down there, so it's nice.
I just want to rewind a little bit slightly. One sec. I'll just hold that as well. I want to rewind a little bit slightly because one of the last times I saw you, it was like 4 or 5 a.m. in Bournemouth. It looked like Terminator 2 Arnie when he was just defeated the villain and he was limping through. And you were just short of a couple of words of saying, I need a vacation. You did end up going on a vacation, but I just wondered, we didn't get to see the recuperation, the injuries that you had to heal. How was that process and getting back to fighting shape?
Yeah, I remember the day after I was limping because I had a bruise on the inside of my left thigh. It must have been from when Lawrence was stepping in. We're stepping in together and clashing. Like his knee must have been going into my thigh. I was limping. I was like, what is going? I don't feel it in the fight, but afterwards I was like, oh, this is sore. And then the next day was even worse. I was limping around the airport or before going to a wedding abroad. So then obviously I had the cuts and they were stitched up really, really well. So thank you to the doctor who stitched me up. And then since then it's just breaking down the scar tissue and getting all that done. So it's a long process, especially when there's cuts involved. The leg was all right after a week or so. And then mentally it's nice to switch off and spend some time with your family, but sometimes it takes longer than because you have no sleep that night, you're still processing what's happened and because you don't get to live in the moment because you've got to stay so focused. So it's hard mentally to recover more than physically sometimes, and took a while easing back into camp. I always like to do that so you're not going back in like, right, there's a fight in 8 weeks and you've got to be in tip-top shape. It's easier if you just ease your way back in and then get rid of any injuries.
Does the defence against Matuesz Masternak prove to be an easier fight to maybe game plan for, an easier fight in the sense of you get to show your skills more, show what you're about more when you're defending your belt?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's going to allow me to do more work, but also he'll do a lot more work. So I've got to show every facet to my game, I think, in this fight, and I think that's what I'll do. I've got to show, I'm going to have to show my toughness at times, but I'm going to have to show boxing skill, punch power, punch selection, defense, all those you have to have when you're fighting a guy like Masternak because he's so well-rounded and he's been there and done it. 52 fights, 31 knockouts, he's no mug. He's by far my hardest opponent to date, I think, and stylistically I've got to be really well prepared.
It's quite a while since he was last stopped. Is that a target in your mind for fight night?
It's always a target, but I'm not going to be just looking for a knockout. It's always a target. As a world champion, you don't go just looking for a one-punch knockout. You when you're fighting at this level, it's not going to be that sort of thing. The amount of world title fights that end in knockouts are few and far between. It's obviously it's a target. I'd love to make a statement, but for me, if I perform to the best of my ability, I believe I can, make a huge statement.
Where does this leave the rematch with Lawrence Okolie?
I'm signed into the rematch with Lawrence, so I expected it to be this fight. It wasn't, so I'll be expecting it to be the next fight.
Very much a wanted man, not only in terms of interviews, but also a wanted man in terms of cruiserweight fighters as well. Opetaia has called your name, looking for that unification fight. Do you feel that's something that can come soon? Yeah, for sure. That's the aim. I want to be in big, massive fights, and that fight after, I've got this fight, and then a fight, obviously contracted with Lawrence as well. So come through those. I think he's got a Bradis rematch he's got to deal with as well as a mandatory. So huge fight on the horizon. But it all starts with good performances on December. Question I liked at the press conference saying, does that title change you? Knowing you like how I know you do, how you are, sorry, it wouldn't have changed you. But do you feel that sense of confidence and do you feel that kind of being that kind of leader in the gym as you are, kind of the figurehead in the gym now and kind of you got the fighters there with you are looking to follow in your footsteps, I guess it is? Yeah,
I was lucky on where the dates fell for the fight because I managed to win mine 2 weeks before Ellie did. So I got in there just first, so I pipped her to it. But everyone in the gym's got a mindset. there is a confidence that comes with being champion, and just overcoming everything and it all being worth it, all the compromises, and now the sacrifices, leaving my family behind week on week. So it all becomes worth it. But there's a confidence to it, and it's a trust in the process, as there always has been with the McGuigans. So it's been it's nice being world champion, nice being able to give advice to younger fighters in the gym as well.
I was asking about Richard Rackwell. Doesn't quite figure in the plans now, but is that still a rematch you want, a wrong you want to right?
Yeah, for sure. No man wants to. I think anyone who loses someone wants to rematch them. Even though I felt like on the night I'd done enough, even looking back, it was a close fight. And it's a fight that makes sense. I want to be in big domestic fights, and that's a huge one out there. Ideally, get a title in the meantime, but it looks unlikely. So we'll see. It's a huge possibility that fight will happen next year at some point as well.
Chris, I know you asked about it before and you said you didn't watch the fight. That's fair enough. But would you ever consider a crossover fight? Are you watching the MMA scene? Is there someone that you target in the future for potential big money?
Not at the moment, no. I've got a fantastic contract with Boxer and Sky at the moment. Never say never, but I can't see it happening.
You sparred an MMA fighter at all?
I boxed a guy, Kent Kalpinen, who he was in Bellator. He was a hard bloke. I hit him with everything and managed to eventually stop him, but he just kept getting up. He was a hard guy, real nice lad as well. I boxed him and then sparred him once after as well. And then, they're tough people.
Was it a difficult fight technically?
No, not technically. It's just he was just super tough. He wasn't a well-schooled boxer as such, and I think he won't mind me saying that. But he was just an MMA guy who was so tough, and I think he's done really well in Bellator and stuff as well as being sort of a journeyman role in the pro career. But he's had a few upsets, knockout wins as well. So he was a tough guy.
Chris, we'll leave it there. All the best for your date with Masternak. Thanks for being Seconds Out, sir.